So, I've been running the dogs a lot today. I've been trying to get just floor 2 done, not even worried about floor 3, but I figure, if each week I can at least get floors 1 and 2 down, I shouldn't have too many issues, starting to rack up enough materials where I can make either giant or demon holy relics on a somewhat more frequent basis. And obviously I'm not a big, master at any of these game modes or anything. I definitely need to target first before I attack. But I was wondering, and I was kind of thinking to myself today, what if, it's not really a what if, it's more of, I don't think that the team is complete yet. I have definitely had a lot of thoughts about Freyr. Not necessarily that there's anything wrong with him, but I think it's really scummy and just really unfortunate, I guess, that honestly, I think one of the biggest things that's really killing my runs and, just kind of hindering me in a big way is not having a 6/6 Freyr. I have a 1/6 Freyr, and if you know me, I don't go for a whole lot of dupes on characters. I would much rather have many characters and be able to use them in various contents and stuff like that, and just use their regular cards and an ult on the occasion, rather than just go for a really high ultimate and then just ult rush or whatever, because I just don't find that very fun. But in a case like this where this character isn't necessarily great for PvP, he's okay. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's as soon as he came out, people were like, I'll try him in PvP. He dropped out of the meta pretty quickly. He's literally made for this dog's game mode. His passive has, ignite immunity and all of that good stuff because it's built for this sort of, specific circumstance. And I've just been thinking about it a whole lot and just wondering, how this fight is going to progress and just hopefully change, because, when the big premise here is Thonar the next Megellda? And I really think so, because whenever Megellda first came out, she was pretty rough around the edges. People were like, why is this character specific to the the bird? Because the bird was the first demonic beast battle. What's stopping her from being in other game modes? She's not really all that good for this in general. What's the deal with this? And, it turns out, once she got her holy relic, and once Trader Meliodas came out, he really took the game by storm, made a lot of content way easier because of how much damage he deals and just how much of a monster he is in pretty much any game mode. And so I'm just waiting, I guess, because even though I do really think that Thonar is helping the team tremendously, before she was, a thing, people were running, Festival Gother with his holy relic, because it kind of sorta did the same thing as her passive, where you're getting increased, attack related stats and everything, but she just does it way easier. She has a kit that's a little bit more catered towards the dogs, but there's a couple of things that are just really weird, and she's just not quite helping enough. Like, you still need to be, insanely maxed out on ultimate levels and stuff like that to really get this game mode over with as quickly as possible, which is just unfortunate. And I mean, you might be thinking, oh well, the ultimate level can't be the only thing that's holding you back. And no, there's definitely RNG factors and stuff like that that make this game mode really hard. It's supposed to be really hard, I understand that, but when it comes down to if I had a 6/6 ultimate here, I would, Freyr would have done double damage cap. I would have pushed through the phase that much faster. I wouldn't have had to take extra turns where, I'm taking a bunch of extra damage and all of this, crazy stuff. It all just really adds up. And so getting through with it as quickly as possible is one of the big keys. I think that's why, big late game players such as myself and, a lot of other YouTubers and just people who have been playing the game for a long time don't have issues with the bird and the deer anymore. And it's because the teams that, people use nowadays phase. They have such insane DPS. They do so much damage that you're not stalling at all anymore. You're not, you're not having to worry about like game mechanics or anything. More often than not, as long as you're not getting super bad RNG or anything, you can more than likely finish a lot of the phases in one or maybe 2 turns, depending on what phase it is, which is great because then you don't have to worry about those insanely annoying mechanics where it's like, oh, like if I don't push right here and win, like it's all over for me, or if I don't do this, I'm basically gonna have to stall for another turn, or you don't run into any of those kind of mechanics really as much anymore with the older demonic beast battles. And that's really good, but this game mode has been really cool and really interesting. Like I know that it's difficult. I really, I've played it enough at this point. It's been out for long enough to where I'm like, all right, this was super cool. When does it get easier? Because I'm really tired of it now. After you play anything for a long time, it's gonna get a little bit boring. It's gonna get tedious. It's gonna get annoying to run, whatever the case may be. And I think there's a few key things that are really bothering me about, Thonar for one, but, hopefully whenever Freyr gets a holy relic sometime in the future, that will help out quite a bit. I really do think that we need a new character that will replace this Liz. This Liz is kind of old, and I don't actually hate this Liz on the team. I think she actually does a pretty good job because she has buff removal. The dogs end up putting a decent amount of buffs on. If you end up getting a level 3 attack card, it will remove stances as well, which is kind of helpful here and there. I guess that all just depends on RNG. I rarely ever get that off. But her ultimate is just fantastic. You're never at like 2 or less ultimate move gauge with her unless, the white dog ends up using that fireball attack and deletes 4 ultimate move gauge out of your hand, which is absolutely infuriating most of the time. So I don't know, like they've given us this unit, she's specific to the dogs. They've given us a card set that's specific to the dogs as well, where if you have, max ultimate move gauge, you can't be frozen, which I'm sure that is definitely very helpful. I do use it, here and there on, phase 2 or floor 2, and I've heard it's really, really good for floor 3, and it also increases, I think it's basic stats by 10% at max level, which I do have it maxed out. But Thonar, it doesn't seem like she's good enough on her own right now to make it super accessible, is kind of where I'm hoping to get it at some point, because this game mode's still ridiculous. Like, it's just so annoying. There's so much to worry about. Like, I'm infected, I can't heal. I rarely, for some reason, just card RNG is never good to me during this phase. I never get extra heal cards, so without a level 2 I can't heal. Using the ultimate would be absolutely useless at the moment, but if I don't use it, it's gone because she's gonna die next turn. Thonar has been very annoying with the way her cards work. You have this card which does nothing at level 1, and it removes stances at level 2, which is fine, but you have this disable stance skills effect that doesn't work because the dog that ends up putting, hello, can I inspect? The dog has an effect where does it just work on the white dog? I don't think it even does. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to check, because I know it doesn't work on the black dog whenever he's in his small form. I'm pretty much done here either way. I literally can't. I'm screwed during this round either way, so I'm just going to throw these cards away. But she has this disable stance skills effect, which, look, activated unique. It doesn't apply the effect to him. They're basically just immune to like every single debuff there is in the game, so why even give her that effect? I can only hope that, when she gets a holy relic, or someone gets a holy relic that will help with this fight, it will apply that effect, because if not, she's only able to be used in this game mode. So what was the point in giving her that? It doesn't make any sense to me there. She's kind of squishy, so I'm running HP defense on her, which I know a lot of people were like, oh, just run attack crit resistance or whatever, and that's definitely an option, but even then, it's basically like if you don't don't have a level 2 of her Chain Fists card, which is the deplete ultimate move gauge, more often than not, if you use a level 1, it's going to get Patienced, and it doesn't go through, which is infuriating because you're using her for the passive, of course, but if you can't use her skills effectively, then it just makes her dead weight on the team. So I don't know. I'm not saying she's bad by any means. I think that she's definitely going to get better. Hopefully, whatever her holy relic ends up being will help out the unit, because at this point, the green Thonar that you use in the backline for Belmoth and whatever other death matches you want to use her on, she works as is. You don't really need a holy relic on her at all. So whatever they make the holy relic for her, I would be completely 100% okay if they made it very specific to the red Thonar, because the green Thonar is just specific for a completely different game mode. So I don't even think she needs it. Make it specific to red Thonar. Make this game mode easier, because I don't know, it's just hard. It just really is. And I understand, you're like, whoa, you play the game a long time, you have all these units and everything, blah blah blah, this should be a little bit easier for you, but it's not that it's just, it's not easy in general. Even the big whales and stuff like that have big issues beating this easily, is what I'm saying. I say easily, it doesn't need to be easy, it just needs to be it needs to be on an average level, instead of it being just hard all the time. Which is not where it needs to be, which is why I put out a poll today and I asked people, I said, been having a hard time doing the dogs this week, how are you guys' dogs doing? And I had 3 options. I said good, meh, or bad, and 66% of people are in bad, and 26% of people are in meh, and then 8% of people are in good. So I'm assuming the people that are in good probably have a max level Freyr, not having too many issues there, or maybe they're just running a very interesting team comp. I know that a lot of people have been running, or not a lot of people, but I know Merilli came out with a guide for a team that can basically patience the dogs, which is really cool. But the unfortunate part about that is with teams like those, it's gonna take you almost it's gonna take way longer. I don't want to give a specific amount of time, but when I used to use the ELAT team for the dogs to try and clear floor 2, it would take me upwards of 35, or it would take me 30 to almost an hour, 30 minutes to an hour just to beat floor 2, because it was literally just stall, try to get as many good cards as I possibly can in hand, and then once I have good cards in hand, I will progress through this phase, get into the last phase, and beat through the resurrection. And it's so time consuming, and it's so awful. And for it's a mobile game. I can't preach this enough. I think mobile games should be fast, should be quick to play. And I understand that this is on the PC port of the game. Most people probably play on the PC port now. But just the overall, there's still a good majority of players, maybe not, I don't know about majority, but there's still a good amount of players that play on their phone. And, you don't want to be sitting on your phone for hours on end trying to do some of these dumb game modes, and they cost a ton of stamina and just everything. So I don't know, I would love to hear what you guys think. I know that a lot of you guys probably don't even do dogs. A lot of the comments that I get when I make posts or just different kinds of content around dogs and stuff like that, people are like, oh well, they're either newer players who aren't even worried about dogs yet because they're not done worrying about the bird and the deer yet, or they're not even to those parts yet, or it's just late game players who are able to beat the content already. So I don't know, it doesn't feel like there's enough people in my specific situation. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're just not vocal, but I don't know, having a hard time with it. This is basically just a huge rant, I guess, but I really do want to see how the team sort of progresses. I don't know. I assume Melly's probably going to be a staple on the team. Freyr is definitely a staple on the team. I think Thonar is going to be a staple on the team. Interested to see if Melly gets replaced with somebody else, or I definitely want to see if Elizabeth gets replaced, and what the holy relics for these 2 units could be to hopefully make the team a lot more consistent or a lot better, you know, just to tackle this absolute hellhole that is the demonic beast Skull and Hot Tea. So that is it from me. I'm done ranting now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way through, let me know. Leave me a little apple emoji or something like that, because I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't make it to the end on this one. But either way, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.